What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Games Jester Ethan Rodriguez, and today we're looking at a hidden gem. So this is going to be maybe a new series I'm working on. I'm not quite sure, but I just played this game recently. It's been in my collection, and I wanted to talk about it because no one ever does, and that is La Fantome De L'Opera. And so this is a Hurrican Games production, and you'll notice here on the very bottom, couple highlights here. One at the bottom, Mr. Jack game system. Top, Bruno, Cathala, Ludovic, Maublanc. So this is part of that same Mr. Jack series. You've got Mr. Jack in New York. I think one of them has an expansion even, like this extension board, Mr. Jack Pocket. Mr. Jack, the original game, is kind of based on Jack the Ripper, and it's this deduction game where players are manipulating tokens to deduce who Mr. Jack is and catch him before he escapes. So this is based on that same system, but with the Phantom of the Opera theme on top. And so I personally am a huge Phantom of the Opera fan. I like musicals and stuff. It's one of the earlier ones I had seen, or at least heard about, and I'd seen it in recent years in the actual local production at our theater here. So I really enjoy Phantom of the Opera, and when I saw that this was the theme for it, I just had to have it. My wife and I both very much enjoy that musical, and this is not a musical themed game. It's just the Phantom of the Opera theme on top of the Mr. Jack system. So let me show you how it plays, then we'll come back up top and I'll share my thoughts about it. So here we go. Okay, to begin the game, players will first decide how difficult they want the game to be. So here, La Carlotta is set on the medium or the middle space here between these seven brighter blue spaces. The middle is a balanced game. This direction makes it harder for the Phantom. This direction makes it easier for the Phantom and therefore harder for the investigators. So up to you and your skill level, and that's a very neat mechanism that the game offers, is the ability to scale difficulty based on the experience of the players. But to start the game normally, you'll just keep it in the middle to keep it balanced for both. Additionally, you're going to then set out the 8 player tokens. Here we have this person here, and you're going to put those around the outside 8 rooms with 2 special tokens. Firstly is Madame Geary's padlock, which are going to be placed on the first opening clockwise, excluding these secret passages, which are pink. We'll get to those in a minute. So we'll put that there. This blocks movement from characters going through this passageway. Also, we'll put this blackout token in the room with this gentleman here to start the game. And that's the setup. So the object of the game is for the investigators to figure out and deduce by process of elimination who the Phantom is before La Carlotta escapes and leaves the opera house. So at the beginning of the game, you've set it up. Then you're going to flip over 4 of these character cards. And just before that, actually, the Phantom is going to draw one of these alibi cards and figure out who they are. So the Phantom has now found out they're M. Richard. Okay, so they will keep this secret in front of them. Let's pretend the Phantom's playing over here. The investigators are over there. So after you've done that, you are ready to begin the game. You will flip over the top 4 cards here from the character cards, and then players will take turns based on this structure here. So in the first turn of the game, investigator will choose one of the characters to activate. Then the Phantom will choose 2 other ones. So let's say the investigator took that one. The Phantom might choose these 2, activate them. Then the investigator gets the last one. Then we will see if the Phantom can make a disturbance, which we'll talk about shortly. We'll move La Carlotta if we need to. And then we'll flip this over, deal the next 4 tiles out. And then this time the Phantom goes first, investigator second and third, Phantom last, check disturbances, back and forth until the game ends. So let's play out around here just to see what might happen. So we've got these options here, and the investigator's just trying to narrow down who the Phantom is by seeing what disturbances might cause. So firstly, they might use Raoul. Raoul, anytime you move a character, you will first move them adjacent in rooms, and you can again use these passages here, except for the pink ones. And then let's say we moved him here. After using his movement, Raul's ability is to flip over an alibi card. So if I'm the investigator using this, I will flip this card over, reveal that this person is innocent, so then I can flip the token from its colored side to its gray innocent side, and I know that that is not the Phantom. If the Phantom were to activate this ability, then this card would be kept secret face down next to his other card, which is his secret identity, and the investigator will not have the opportunity of ruling him out on their turn because he is out of the deck. In this pile of alibi cards are all the characters and a few of these Phantom tokens. If the investigator were to pull this using Raul's ability, then La Carlotta would move back, giving the investigators more opportunity to find the Phantom before the game ends. If the Phantom were to pull this, she would move forward, increasing the chances that the Phantom escapes or Phantom wins by making her leave the opera house. Okay, and so that's his ability. So let's say he moved right there, and it would go the Phantom's turn. We can use our secret character. The investigator does not know this, but Mr. Richard here can just simply swap instead of moving. So if he wants to use his ability, he can just move to an adjacent room, but he could also just swap spaces. So let's say he just swaps here with Raul there. Okay, that's that character. Now we've got two left, so the Phantom might go ahead and take this gentleman here, Joseph Bouquet. And so when he moves, just like every other character, he can move anywhere he wants to, but then he can put the blackout token any room that he wants to, and he must move it from this current room. So let's say we throw that up here. That's pretty good for the Phantom. And now the investigator is forced to take Madame Giry here, or Madame Giry, and so she can move, and then after she moves, move the padlock token anywhere she wants to on the board. And let's just say we go ahead and move that here. So this would not be a great round for the investigators because now we check for disturbances. The Phantom, which is the secret identity that we chosen at the beginning of the game, will now announce if they can or cannot make a disturbance. So if they can make a disturbance, they have to be by themselves or in a room with the blackout token. So here we can make a disturbance because our secret character that the investigator does not know is in this room with this blackout token. But if, let's say, it was something like this, by us declaring we can make a disturbance, the investigators could then rule these characters out because none of them would be able to because there's no blackout token and they are not alone, which would be helpful for the investigators. As it stands, the investigator has not been able to rule out anybody. So this would be a great round for the Phantom. The Phantom would say, yes, I'm able to cause a disturbance. And then we would count the number of suspects that still exist because the Phantom has not yet been ruled down to 1. So here we've got 7 of the 8 still available. Plus, because we're able to make a disturbance, we get an extra tick. And that's 8 total that we would move La Carlotta down. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Devastating for the investigators. She's almost halfway to leaving. Now, let's pretend that I could not make a disturbance. So let's say we left this blackout token here, and just for example, we had these two together in a later ground. In this example, let's say I could not make a disturbance. Well, then the investigator knows this would be eliminated, that would be eliminated, it would be eliminated, they would be eliminated because they are all by themselves. So then we would still count the number of face-up suspects, so 1, 2, 3. And because I could not make a disturbance, that would be it. There is no bonus, so I'd only move her 3 spaces. So as you can see, it's kind of this push and pull between the investigator trying to put people together or separate people maybe to narrow down their options, while the Phantom player is trying to make things as obscure as they can so that the investigator's not getting a chance to eliminate suspects, while also hopefully creating disturbances every round to get that 1 extra bonus to win the game. So now that we've understood the basic mechanisms of the game and we understand 4 of the characters, let's talk about the last 4. Then we'll go back up on top and I'll give you my final thoughts. So here, Meg Giry can just go ahead and use these secret passages. This is optional, so she can normally move, or she can use the secret passage to move into rooms that normally most people can't get to. All right. Mr. Moncharmin can go ahead and move normally. And I should also mention the movement value is normally 1, but if you're with somebody or a group of characters, you can move that many times. So here I could move 3 total spaces because I had 3 people in my starting area. So I could go 1, 2, 3 if I wanted to, or I might just go 1 over, and even though I could have moved 2. And now his ability is after he moves, he can push people away. So he can push him out of the room. If there are multiple people in the room, he can choose which way they go or send them both together. All right. The person can go ahead and pick people up or take people with him rather when he moves. So let's say, for example, these two were together, Raul and this character here. When he moves, he would get to move 2 because there's 2 people in this room, and he could carry them with him as he moves. He could also drop them off and continue moving. All right, and lastly is Christine Daae, which is the protagonist of the story here, and so other than the Phantom, of course. And her ability is to attract people to her room. So let's say, for example, we had a situation like this, and Christine was to move here. She could, at the end of her movement, pull these characters in because they're in adjacent rooms. And if it had been a situation like this, she could pull in, actually let's say, yeah, let's just say this. The only character she could pull is him because this character could not go through the padlock against block passages. And there you go, that's all 8 abilities. Some of them are optional, some of them are mandatory. You'll play and play until either A, the investigators have narrowed it down to 1 potential suspect, in which case they would win because it's the only character, or La Carlotta has left the Opera House, in which case the Phantom player wins. So there you go, that's the game. Let's go back up top and I'll tell you what I think of it. Okay, so that was Le Fantome de l'Opera. Let's talk about it. First of all, we'll start with 1 minor rules correction. In the overview, I'm going to put some annotations over it, but when I was talking about the difficulty scaling, I misspoke. If you move it closer to the right, it makes it easier for the Phantom because they are able to escape and therefore harder for the investigators. The further left you go, it's harder for the Phantom. They have further to go to get La Carlotta to escape, but it is easier for the investigators because they'll have more time. So minor correction there. Let's move on now, starting with the theme. I love the theme. As I stated in the intro, I'm a big fan of musicals. This one is one that my wife and I had seen in person just in the recent years, pre-COVID. And it's probably one of the most famous as far as pop culture accessibility goes. There was a big movie production for it not too long ago with Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum. Not sure, maybe that's 10 years ago now, so it could be quite a bit away now, but it doesn't feel that long ago. And it's one that when people hear, they know exactly what musical it is. They know the intro to the Phantom of the Opera song. They know the big high note at the end. So it's one that's recognizable and it's well implemented here. It's not just a deck builder with, stills. They do a good job of making it feel important as far as what the player's abilities are, how you win. The Phantom does want to drive out the prima donna, La Carlotta, and get Christine Daae in because he really likes Christine. Christine's ability in the game to attract people is kind of, akin or similar to what she would do in the movies or in the Broadway musical. She's kind of like the love interest of the Phantom. So, it's pretty thematic. It's a cool theme. It's a unique theme, and I think it's well done. So I give an A+ for that. Production-wise, it's okay. There's nothing really amazing in here. I will say I feel like the box is bigger than the game is, but I don't know if there's a better way they could have made the board smaller maybe and made a little bit less air in the box, because really just the board, about 21 or 19 total tiles, 20 tiles total actually, and then the 8 tokens. The tokens are good, little wooden pieces that you have to sticker, 16 total stickers, a front and back for each. They could have made the tiles just cards, so I do appreciate that they are nice and thick tiles as far as the turn order sequences and the character and the alibi cards. So that's cool, but again, it's nothing amazing. It's just kind of middle of the road, but it's well done at least. As far as rules go, the rules are really easy. I mean, once you learn the 8 players or the 8 character abilities, that's all you really need to know. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory, and the turn order card is lays it out exactly what you need to do per round. You just flip it over from whenever players switch as far as who goes first. It's a language independent game once you get past the initial rules teach. There's no text on the cards. You just need to know what color it is, even at the name. It doesn't matter what the name is, they're all unique colors. So as long as you can see the color, you can read the abilities, and you've been taught it once, you're good to go. And so that kind of opens it up to play with younger players, maybe, or those who don't speak your native language. And that's a nice touch, too. And the rules, as far as the characters go, they're not that different. They're all variations of movement. Swap places, move using the secret passages, move and pull people in, move and push people out, carry people with you. They're not that much, there's nothing really outside the box as far as what they do that's going to throw someone off. Rouse is the only one that's a little different because he does use the alibi deck. But even still, it's either going to eliminate someone for you if you're the investigator, or help you push the phantom up further away, or it's going to, if you're the phantom, keep something hidden or accelerate your leaving for La Carlotta. So again, not hard, great rules, and then gameplay, awesome. It's a quick 2-player deduction game, which outside of the Mr. Jack series, I don't know that there's a ton of those that are specifically designed for 2 players. It's really got that double think thing going on where, okay, if I take this one and I move it here, well, they can move that one there. So no, I need to do a different strategy. Let me move this player instead. And I love that. I think that's what you need, that kind of tension building moment, that puzzly aspect, almost like an abstract game like chess, something like that, where you're trying to think a couple moves ahead as best you can as to what your player might be doing when they get their turn to select the character, and which character is best for you to take right now so that you can avoid getting in a situation where, if you're the investigator, you're not eliminating anyone, or if you're the phantom, you're making sure that no one gets eliminated. So it's a great, cat and mouse push and pull kind of game, and I really enjoy that. And as far as time goes, it's quick. Again, it's easy to set up. You just throw the tokens out on the outside areas. There's only 2 players with unique tokens as far as the lock and the blackout token goes. You shuffle up the card, you deal them out, and that's pretty much it. And so it's a game where you can play, best 2 out of 3 in 30 minutes, no problem. And it feels, meaty. It feels rewarding. It feels cool when you win. And even if, you win pretty quickly, you can switch sides and you kind of get a different experience as far as what you're trying to do and what you're going for. And so I do enjoy that. I like my games to be snappy if they're going to be kind of 2-player games. Games like this, I should say. I don't mind playing like a Feast for Odin, maybe longer 2-player worker placement type game. But this is a good, almost fillery type game where it's a work week, work day. You're just looking for something to kind of exercise your brain a little bit, and this definitely hits the spot there. And so lastly, I'll talk about variety. It's not great. The puzzle might be a little different every time based on where the characters start, which characters come out, and then of course which side you're playing. But other than that, it's the same characters, it's the same abilities, it's the same board. So it's not going to be that different from game to game. I do like the variety in the sense that you can play this with a wider group of people because you have that scaling difficulty. So, if you and your significant other or whoever it is you play your 2-player games with, one of you gets really good and starts really beating the other player, well, you can kind of scale them back to make it harder for them and make it easier for yourself, and that'll maybe bring it to the table more. Similarly, if I'm playing with a younger, player or more a new player, like my daughter, she's only 11, I can make it harder on myself, make it a little easier for her, but we can both still have a good experience and it doesn't feel diluted. So that's really nice. But that's it. Overall, I really, really enjoy this game. It gets an 8 out of 10 for me. It's one that nobody really talks about. It is super out of print, so I'll mention that as well. But I really love the theme. I'm sure the Mr. Jack games that this is based on would be very similar and probably satisfy the same kind of itch if that's something you need to scratch as far as something in your collection. But I like this one. I think just the theme is charming. It's cool. It's just out of the box, very unique. And again, I have a soft spot for musicals, so I'm more inclined to enjoy this theme as opposed to the Jack the Ripper London theme. But there you go. That's my thoughts on Le Fantôme de l'Opera. If you see it on a bargain bin, check it out. If you're interested in it, you might find it on eBay somewhere. Try not to get gouged as far as the price goes. I think I got this for maybe 40, 50. That's probably okay, 30, 40 bucks, but no more than that. So there you go. Check it out. That's been my thoughts. Thank you for watching. I'm the Games Adjuster Ethan Rodriguez, and we'll catch you on the next one.